They came shackled in chains, stripped of names, stripped of families, stripped of freedom.
Now stop any illegal gathering. I'm giving you 3 minutes to disperse. Go home. Go home.
Torn from villages where the call to prayer once filled the air, forced into ships where darkness and despair ruled. And yet, even in the suffocating, hold whispers of the Qur'an rose above the waves. What few Americans know is this: nearly 1/3 of the Africans enslaved and brought to this land were Muslim. Their faith was beaten, hidden, erased from memory, but history has a way of speaking even through silence. This is the forgotten story of America's first Muslims, a story of survival, resilience, and a faith that could not be broken. In the mid-1700s, West Africa was alive, flourishing kingdoms, centers of learning, Islamic scholarship. Timbuktu, Fouta Djallon. Not backwaters, but vibrant hubs of trade and education, children reciting Qur'an. By lantern light, families gathering for prayer, markets alive with voices and color, among them a boy named Abdul Rahman, the son of a respected leader. By adolescence, he had memorized much of the Qur'an. He could write Arabic, debate law, tell the stories of prophets with eloquence. His mornings began with the adhan echoing through the valley. His afternoons, lessons under ancient trees. Life was steady, rooted in faith. He dreamed not of chains, but of leadership, of serving his people, but destiny had other plans. One day, raiders descended on his village. The peace of prayer was replaced with screams. Homes were set ablaze, chains snapped around Abdul's wrists, dragged from his family, marched toward the coast. Every step further from the world he knew. The journey across the Atlantic was a nightmare. The ship reeked of death, hundreds chained together, barely able to move. Disease spread, food was scarce. Many never survived the crossing, yet Abdul whispered verses he had memorized. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. The Qur'an was his anchor, each word, his shield against despair. When the ship reached America, the nightmare deepened. Sold at auction, stripped of his name, forced into fields where his hands bled from unfamiliar labor. But inside, he remained who he always was, a Muslim, and he was not alone. Historians now estimate that 20 to 30% of enslaved Africans were Muslim. Some were scholars, some teachers, some traders. They prayed quietly before dawn. They whispered verses as lullabies. They etched Arabic letters in the dirt, erasing them before overseers could see. Faith became their rebellion, their survival. Abdul's intelligence soon set him apart. He could read, he could write. Plantation owners noticed his bearing. Whispers spread of his noble origins. They called him the prince among slaves. His story traveled all the way to President John Quincy Adams. And after decades in chains, Abdul Rahman was freed. But freedom was complicated. His wife remained enslaved. His children were still in bondage. He spoke to audiences across the North. For many Americans, it was the first time they realized Islam was not foreign. It had been here from the beginning, hidden in chains. His story shattered stereotypes. It forced the nation to confront a truth. Muslims were among the earliest builders of America. Yet, Abdul's heart remained divided. He was free, but his family was not. Every word he spoke, every crowd he moved, carried the weight of separation, and still, he endured. He carried the Qur'an in his heart until his final days. He returned to West Africa, welcomed as a son who had been lost, but his family remained in chains. Within a year, Abdul fell ill and passed away. His dream of reunion never came true, but his story did not die with him. Through Abdul Rahman, America glimpsed the truth that Muslims had been here all along, that their faith endured, even in chains, and he was not alone. Thousands of unnamed Muslims whispered prayers into the night. Women who sang Qur'an as lullabies, men who carved verses into memory when paper could not be found, children who carried fragments of faith in silence. Their names may be forgotten, but their legacy remains. The first Muslims in America did not arrive with freedom. They arrived in bondage. Yet their resilience planted seeds of faith that would one day grow into thriving communities. Their story reminds us, Islam in America is not new, not foreign, not temporary. It is woven into the nation's earliest chapters, and so we are left with a question. What do we do with their legacy? Do we let their voices fade into silence? Or do we honor them by living our faith openly with the dignity they were denied? The Qur'an tells us, indeed with hardship comes ease. For America's first Muslims, that verse was not theory, it was survival. It was the whisper that carried them through chains, through fields, through humiliation. Their story is not just history, it is inheritance, a call to remember, a call to reflect, a call to rise with the same courage they showed. Because their struggle was not only theirs, it was the story of Islam in America, and it is a story still being written today.